вечір.
Hello, hello.
Recording in progress.
Good evening.
Good evening. 44 people are present. It's high time to start the class. So how are you feeling, by the way, guys? How are you feeling? So react by providing some emojis or showing some reactions. So you can do that in the chat. Oh, thanks a lot. Maria Ladanai. So it means, so that's like you feel perfect. Alexandra Shpelyakova. A smiley. Does it mean that you are quite happy about being present in the class?
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you for this. Then Anastasia Didenko. Quite an interesting smiley. What does it mean? Could you please decipher it for me?
Hi there, everyone. I'm sorry, I'm on the road, but still I want to study today. So yeah, I feel cool and I feel excited about the lesson.
Okay, so thank you. So that's great. Now, if you allow, so I will start. High time to do that. 47 people are with us, and that's high time for me to show the following slide to you. Okay, so let us now answer the question by eliciting the answers from you. What should we know as teachers about our students to teach them effectively? So you will provide me with answers, and I will just type these answers here. Any ideas? What should we know about our students to teach them effectively? Anastasia, would you please? Their interests.
Yes.
Okay, thanks a lot. The interests. Yeah, then. Katerina Бережна.
Their goals.
Their goals. Thank you. Шаврова Людмила. Or Шаврова. Sorry, maybe I just mispronounced. Шаврова.
Okay.
Mhm.
Their needs.
Yeah, it was meant. So needs. Oh no, that wasn't mentioned. Then what else? Sophia Покитко.
Their aim.
Aims or goals, actually, I believe that these terms are a bit overlapping. Yeah, that's why. So, like, suggest something else.
About their life, their hobbies.
Hobbies or background in general. Yeah, if you allow, I will write background. Background. Then, so Елизавета Когут.
So it's similar to background, but experience.
So yeah, it's interrelated with background. Okay, I will not specify it because like it will take much more time for such a detailed classification. Halina Kovalenko, any suggestions from you?
Yeah, I'd like to add about learning styles. So it might be important to know is the student visual, auditory, or kinesthetic?
Perfect, thank you. Then Alexandra Shpelyakova.
Their tempo.
Tempo, okay, so, or pace at which it's comfortable for them to work. Then Anastasia Vashchenko.
We should also know their strong and weak points.
Okay, strengths and weaknesses. And weaknesses. Oh, like I don't see it here. Okay, maybe. Yeah. Strengths and weaknesses. Is there anything else that should be added? Because I can add it by drawing so another arrow. So, Tatarchuk, Mash.
Maybe it's so stupid, but their age.
Oh, thanks a lot. Why is it stupid? No, I never say that something so is stupid. So that's the way you think, and you are on the right path. Thanks a lot. Afroza.
Adapt the material to the students and level of students.
Okay, level, the level. Is there anything else that should be incorporated here? Так. Ольга Владичина?
Maybe their psychological peculiarities.
Psychological peculiarities. Okay, so, and I believe that currently we will stop here. So many nice suggestions. So, psychological peculiarities. Now, if you don't mind, I would like you to comment. Yeah, so provide comments behind what was suggested. So this can be either the people who suggested these ideas or like all the other participants can take part and present their ideas behind. So if talking about interests, So why is it necessary to know their interests, the interests of our learners? Who is responsible for that? Anastasia?
Yes, it was my answer.
Okay.
Because I believe that when you learn something with the help of your interests, it becomes not like a burden for you, but something that you are really enjoying to do. And I do remember my school years, and it wasn't something very interesting for me, and I didn't want to learn English in general. But now, as a teacher, I try to provide something that will be interesting for my students, and they really have this motivation, interest in learning English language, and it's easier for them to understand some peculiarities of this language.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, quite a lot of students, even the students of mine. So when we were talking about how they felt, so about their school years, told me that unfortunately they haven't been motivated enough. Yeah, so because of different reasons. Yeah, because of pressure on behalf of their parents, or maybe so the lessons that were not interesting. So some of them said that their interests were not taken into account. There were a lot of reasons. So thank you for such a detailed clarification behind. Oля Harlan, so I've seen you raising your hand, but currently I do not see you. Could you
Yeah,
please?
I just wanted to say pretty the same. Just we are to be aware of our students' interest in order to motivate them.
Yeah, so thank you. Then goals. Somebody mentioned aims. Could you please specify?
Yeah, it was mine.
Katya?
And depending on the goals, we choose the teaching methods and materials that are suitable. Therefore, it is very important to know the students' goals before teaching.
Yeah, perfectly. Yeah. So in order to help them achieve these goals.
Yeah.
Then needs. Somebody mentioned needs. Mhm.
It was me. Okay. Needs also important for us teaching learners because we have to know if they have problems with maybe vocabulary or maybe pronunciations that we have to include into consideration.
Thank you, Ludmila. Psychological peculiarities. Why is it necessary to know the psychological peculiarities of our learners?
I think that it can be related to their age because in different age, different learners can have different needs and peculiarities, and sometimes it can be also related to their like ways of accepting materials, and in some cases that also can be related to the psychology.
Thank you. I do appreciate your thoughts. Then age. I do not remember what lady said it that. So maybe it's a stupid suggestion. Far from that. Could you please comment on age?
Age,
That was
because
Masha.
yes, I thought if we're talking about for age, for example, we have students with 5 years old, we can't to express them and start learning with them maybe present simple and say, oh, present simple, go on. So we need to choose some pictures, we need to choose some toys, we need to show them with toys, we need to play with them. But if we're talking for older people, for example, 20 years old, 21, 30 years old, we can't do this because it's so stupid maybe.
Yeah. So some activities, you mean, yeah, as well as materials will be appropriate just for a particular age group. So yeah, or for a particular age. That's why we've mentioned already psychological peculiarities, but we should also talk about age in general or some like age peculiarities or peculiarities related to age. Then background, what can be hidden behind this? Background.
It's also important to know what our students are interested in their life. It's like also connected with a like hobby, for example, or in because in this way we can also find out what they will interest in. Like, for example, they told us their hobby like reading the books.
but they also mention about, for example, films or music. And then we will find out about some interesting kind genre in music. We will also understand, for example, how much energy they have for the lesson, because maybe they are busy in their life.
And so currently it's interrelated. So like what you've mentioned about learning style is interrelated with pace at which they are used to working on the material. Yeah, because there are those who are quick learners, those who are a bit slower, for example. So and teachers shouldn't they should do everything so that the students would feel comfortable. So at that pace they used to work at. Okay, Darina, so you raised your hand. So like
Yeah,
which
I just wanted to add about background. I do love ideas the previous girl mentioned, and I totally agree with it. But also, maybe it's important to mention here cultural background. We can't omit it, and remember that our students can be like we should take it to account.
Yeah, because there are so cultural background, ethnicity, for example, race of a particular student. Yeah, because so sometimes so the knowledge of this background can provide us with a lot of information of how to effectively plan our lessons. Because what is a taboo thing for one nationality may be like an okay thing so for the rest, and vice versa. So that's why so be well aware of it while getting ready to your classes. So thank you for mentioning it. Then weaknesses and strengths.
Yeah, it was mine. So every teacher should know the strengths and weaknesses of their students. It helps to focus their attention on the real weak points and not to be frustrated and not to pay attention to something really not
trivial and
needed.
unimportant.
That is not needed.
It
Yeah.
is not needed. So what is unimportant, insignificant. So do not pay attention to insignificant details. Level, the last one. So, okay, who suggested this?
It was me.
Afruza?
Knowing the student's language level helps to choose the right materials and explanations for the students. If you give them material that is too difficult, they may get confused and lose motivation. If it is too easy, they will be bored and will not develop.
Okay, thank you.
When
sorry.
When the teaching is appropriate to their level, they learn faster and feel more confident, and are more interested in moving forward because they can see the results.
Okay, so thanks a lot. So, and actually, when you just started talking, you mentioned that the material shouldn't be neither too difficult nor too simple. Can you recollect what theory of learning you just mentioned? We talked about that at the previous time.
Comprehensible input.
Input by Krashen. So thanks a lot. Yeah, perfect. So perfectly done. So now I'm going to show you what we will deal with today. So actually today we will talk about understanding learners' needs, and we've already brainstormed a lot of ideas what is meant by these needs. And we will talk about the ways of how to motivate and engage students. That's why. Let us look at the agenda, today's agenda, or what we have on our plan. We will talk about understanding learner needs. We will see how teaching approaches should align with learner needs. We will just view the impact of language proficiency on understanding students' needs. Consider correlation between needs and motivation. So then talk about theories of motivation and check how it's possible to keep different students engaged. Here I have the slides that I'm not going just to stop on or dwell on for a long time, since quite a lot of things have already been mentioned, and so that's what you already know. So let us check if everything that I have on my list coincides with what you suggested. Age, it was mentioned. Gender, it wasn't. Is it essential to consider gender when we are talking about so about understanding students' needs. Can it help us somehow? Alexandra?
I think yes, because girls are faster than boys, I think. And for them, it's easier to understand some information. And boys are like has specific knowledge about math or physics more. And for them, it will be more difficult to understand English, for example.
And girls are more responsible. Yeah, they are more diligent. So, so guys are traditionally noisy, and they are less responsible. They think, for example, I can skip this task. I will not do it. Whereas ladies, so sit still and start doing everything what is asked of them. Perhaps it's a stereotypical notion, but in most of the cases, it just works this way. Okay, Helena would like to add something.
Yeah, I also believe that gender is closely connected to people's interests. So I think we should take into account it when we choose topics for our lessons or topics for like certain tasks, maybe text or listening tasks.
Yeah, so yeah, it's like these are interrelated notions. Then I have something else that wasn't included, so like in your lists. That's aptitude. So what do we understand by aptitude? Can you help me with that? Aptitude. Okay, so when I analyzed the tables, yeah, so with the information about you, I could hardly see a person who wouldn't have any teaching experience. Even if these were just 3 months of half a year, quite a lot of you said that, oh, yeah, we have this teaching experience. Then perhaps you should be in the know that there are certain groups of students, so like, or it can be one group of students, like almost of the same level, but it happens that, for example, Vitalina acquires the language much quicker, but Tatiana needs more time for learning the same things. It deals with our aptitudes. So aptitude, it's kind of like innate or inborn ability to acquire the language. So in Ukrainian, we very often say that, oh, I'm not so a humanitarian, yeah? Or, for example, so I'm just good at exact sciences, or vice versa. I'm good at natural sciences. So sometimes that's what you say about yourselves. Here in this situation, we're talking about aptitudes. Because, for example, you may have the aptitude for languages, but lack aptitude or be not quite good. I do not want to say that you are bad. You are not quite good at acquiring, for example, natural sciences. So that's the inborn ability to deal with something. Yeah, Neufeld in 1978 suggested that there are students who have some innate abilities for learning languages, whereas the rest have like just lack these abilities. They do not have this specific talent for language, or they lack this ability for languages. Then, background, it has been mentioned, learner styles and learner types. Some of you have already mentioned so these learner types, it seems to me, yeah? Because some of us perceive the information through visual channels, whereas the rest perceive this information through auditory or kinesthetic, olfactory, gustatory, and other sensory filters. But so we should also take into account our learner styles or learning styles suggested by Howard Gardner. Still, do not mix these two terms, because quite a lot of students got confused thinking that, for example, just if I am a visual learner, then it means that I should definitely like have this special visual learner style. No. I'm like, okay, I will talk about myself. I'll provide that example. I'm a visual learner, but I like to get the information through talks, through communication with other people. That's why my learner style is not quite special visual. It's more interpersonal, because I acquire the language and some knowledge through communication with people. As well as, for example, we can talk about some artist who is maybe a visual learner, but it doesn't mean that he cannot be good, for example, at rhyming. That's why perhaps his learner style is linguistic verbal. And so that's like something that we need to take into consideration as well. So now I would like to work with you. And I will suggest some interesting task. Like one of you, that was Masha. Yeah, I remembered. So she suggested taking into consideration the age. And I believe that you did have a lot of talks in your classes and methodology. That's why, what for should I repeat everything? I will just ask you to correlate the characteristics of particular group of learners with these groups. And in case if we do everything in the proper way, there will be one hidden picture that will mark the transition to, or that will mark the transition to our next activity. Okay, if talking about children, what characteristics are peculiar of the kids or of children? If you have a look at these puzzles suggested. Okay, Ludmila, tell me please.
Okay, as for children, we can say that need individual attention, reward, and teachers' approval.
Right, you are. Then, так, one more. Maria.
3 teachers as a role model.
So, 3 teachers as the role model. Так, it's here. No, unfortunately, that's not something that relates to children, but it should be related to what category? To?
Maybe adolescents.
Adolescents. Yeah, right, you are. Then, Yulia Andreevna.
Get easily bored, so the classroom setting needs to be changed.
So we're talking about kids now, yeah? So
Yeah.
they get easily bored, right? You are. Galina?
A teacher should be clear and direct in his speech.
Okay, then Anastasia?
Like physical activities and demonstrations.
Okay, then Так. What else should I ask? There are no more volunteers. Are extremely vulnerable to negative judgments. Is it true about children?
More about adolescents, I think.
Definitely. Paulina?
Yes, anxious when they experience failure is also adolescent.
So anxious when they experienced failure. It's about adolescence. Unfortunately not. So quite unusual, but these are not adolescents. What category of students, of learners, become anxious when they fail? Because they don't like to fail. Marina?
Maybe adults?
Definitely. Then, okay, who else should I ask? Okay, then are passionate and committed when they are engaged. Very passionate and committed. Like to be engaged.
Children.
So children, so let's check. It's more about adolescents, right? You are notoriously hard to please. If something is notorious, then it has bad reputation. So it means that these people, unfortunately, are very hard to please. Polina?
It's adolescents.
Yeah, definitely. So teenagers, yeah, adolescents, like these are teenagers. They are very hard to please, so they don't like anything. Then, critical of teaching methods. Who can be critical of what the teacher does?
Adults.
Okay, let's give it a try. Yeah, so adults. Like when a teacher is interested in their life beyond the classroom, when the teacher starts asking, showing interest in showing interest in what they like, what they don't. So who their peers or friends are. Helena?
I believe adolescents.
Okay, definitely. Formal grammar teaching may not be beneficial to them. For whom? For what age category? Anastasia?
I suppose for children.
For children, yeah, definitely. Cognitive skills start being developed with these kids because it's essential. Polina?
It's adolescents.
Okay, thanks a lot. They are unwilling to make mistakes or take risks just because they are afraid. Who are they?
Adolescents?
Adolescents? No, these are
Adults.
Adults? Yeah, definitely. And the last one, they respond to meaning even if they don't understand a word. So they will give a response to the teacher, even they do not understand what the teacher asks them about. They can be mistaken.
Children.
Yeah, so that's in the nature of kids. Okay, and now we have this picture with a number of books where it's written proficiency, advanced, upper intermediate, beginner, and whatsoever. What relation do you think does it have to understanding learners' needs? Let's elicit that from you. It's interrelated with what? We already mentioned this word today. It deals with levels, definitely. Thank you, Lisa, and just all those who mentioned that. Yeah. Now we will talk about levels. You'll ask me, so why should we talk about levels? Frankly speaking, so I will reveal some secret. So we experienced, so me and all those teachers who were doing CELTA course, we experienced a real shock on getting to know that we won't be responsible for the classes conducted for children or adolescents, or for example, adults, because those international centers or international houses that will provide you with an opportunity to take CELTA will start looking for any volunteers of any age possible. That's why that was a real shock for me. So to come to the class and understand that the group of pre-intermediate learners had nothing to do with children, because these were ladies aged 40 plus and 50 plus. That was a shock. That's why, in this case, we cannot say that there is a direct correlation between children and beginners. Because even the ladies aged, or like men, gentlemen aged 50 plus, so can be beginners, especially if it's their like third or even or second or fourth foreign language. Because of some reasons, needs can be different. For some reasons, so even these like elderly people will be in the need of learning a language. That's why right now I'd like you to work in teams of like in 6 groups. What will you do in these groups? So you'll be responsible for the profiles of pre-intermediate learners and upper intermediate learners. That's why I will leave these, if you allow, I will leave these links in our chat. Yeah. So groups 3, if you are in one of the groups, 1, 2, or 3, then so you'll be working with this with this link. Those who will be in groups 4, 5, or 6, you will you will have to work with these links. Okay. Yeah. What exactly will you need to do? So you'll be responsible for the following things. So group 1, be responsible for the strength of pre-intermediate learners. Group 2, think about possible challenges that these people, these learners, will face while working on their vocabulary, grammar, speaking, developing their skills and habits. Group 3, suggest the activities that can be used and that will be quite beneficial for them. Then, group 4, so deal with the same stuff, with the strengths, but now of upper intermediate learner. Group 5, be responsible for challenges of upper intermediate learners with vocabulary, grammar, speaking, writing, and whatnot. And group 6, be responsible for activities to be used. So the time allotted to you is 7 minutes. Within these 7 minutes, in your subgroups, in your breakout rooms, come up with the ideas and provide comments in these boxes that are provided to you. Okay, I will stop sharing the screen now. Yulia Yurievna will help us.
Yeah, so we can start. Welcome.
Yeah. Is the task clear? Yep. Okay, so ready, steady, go. Okay. 48 people are with us, 50. 51. Mhm. I believe I can start sharing the screen. So have you appointed the people who would talk in your groups? Have you done that? Are you now in the know who these delegates will be? Okay, we will start like chronologically from pre-intermediate learners. Yeah. So, and let us be responsible for the strengths of pre-intermediate learner. Who can talk? Okay, group 1.
Maybe I can if nobody wants.
Darina, will it be you?
So we are responsible for strengths of pre-intermediate learners, and we do believe that one of these, it can be basic communication skills. They can also being able to have a small talks. It's almost the same. They can learn basic structures, vocabulary and grammar structures, and easily already like have some small talks on this on different small topic on different topics.
Different topic.
Yeah. So and they are dealing easily with basic vocabulary. They are able to create short dialects. It's also about this. Also, they are able to use common grammar structures. And what I didn't mention, and we wanted to write, but didn't have time. We sure that it's easy to see progress at this level. It's really like visible at this like at this level.
So taking into account that they don't know a lot, so yeah, any step to achieving their goal will be treated as the progress. So and it should be praised, it should be encouraged, so that the students will not lose interest in what they do. Thank you. Then group 2, challenges. Challenges, talk about them. What are the challenges that pre-intermediate learners face?
The challenges of pre-intermediate learners are listening skills. Sometimes it is difficult to understand the meaning of some words. Additionally, grammar, the structure of sentences. There are some issues with reading and writing skills. We can overcome those problems with correcting pronunciation of our students by exercises with words spelling, and additionally with exercises which are based on materials, cartoons, movies, or books which are interesting for our students.
You mentioned that there can be some issues with listening skills. So can you please specify, like at least one example of what can be that issue with listening?
We think that one of the main issues connected with listening skills is accent, because people from different countries have specific accents, and for students who hadn't does it in it, it is difficult to understand.
So because of the accent, they sometimes can misunderstand even like the most common words. Yeah, so just typical words. Yeah. If talking about reading, so just because they lack knowledge of some basic vocabulary, then so they can it can happen that they can hardly understand the meaning of the whole phrase or even a sentence. Okay, and what activities can be used with pre-intermediate or for while working with pre-intermediate learners, so that will help them or enable them to make progress at this stage? So group 3, have you appointed a delegate to talk? Group 3, I'm addressing you, Olena, Harlan, Katerina, Afruza. So many smart ladies are here. Okay, Olena, Harlan. The floor is yours.
A lot of things that we discussed actually it is somehow connected with their strengths, I would say, like the tasks, the activities that can be used. So the first one is describing pictures in order to improve their monologues, their speech. Then reading simple articles and discussing them. So they'll have some ideas, some vocabulary that they will be able to use after reading. Then bingo game, actually, I haven't really understood the game. I haven't played it. So the second is role play, like it's kind of when they making dialects. Something connected to dialects. Journaling, it was about the idea is that they're discussing the experience, what they were doing, how are they doing, so kind of small talks. Then true false listening, it will be easier than just it will improve their listening skills. And watching simple videos, for example, about morning routine, some opinions of different people, maybe also that watching some cartoons or films.
So you told me that you didn't quite get the idea of like what the bingo game is, yeah? Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like a bingo game, so presents looks like for you to play this game, you need to create kind of big square that is subdivided into much smaller squares. So, and each of these smaller squares contains a word or a set phrase, usually like it deals with vocabulary that the learners so have worked with. Then the teacher reads out definitions, and the very moment when a learner recognizes what phrase or what word it's associated with, the learner starts crossing out the words in these squares. Yeah. So then just the teacher continues reading different definitions, and so the very moment when the learner identifies the word, so this word is crossed out, and it's done up to the moment when either in the horizontal line or in one of the vertical lines, or so like in a diagonal line, you will get so a line. You can get a line, the same as in like tic-tac game, yeah, kind of. So in case if you have the whole horizontal or vertical or diagonal line, so with the words that can be crossed out, you just shout bingo because you have this whole line of all the words that can be crossed. That's how it looks like, and how that's how you can play it, for you to know. Thanks a lot for mentioning. Now we will gradually move to the profile of the upper intermediate learner, yeah? Because, so as I've already mentioned, you will need to work with mainly two categories of learners. So depending on their level, either pre-intermediate or upper intermediate learner, when you are dealing with this CELTA course of yours. So, and do not think that you will start with pre-intermediate and just for the first 2 weeks and then will finish dealing with upper intermediate. That can be vice versa. You can start working with upper intermediate and then continue working or dealing with pre-intermediate. So like it will be decided upon by your trainers. That's what your trainers decide upon. Okay. So group number 4, we were responsible for the strength of upper intermediate learners. Polina, so will you please?
Yes, thank you. So, starting with the strengths of upper intermediate learners is that they have strong communicative skills because they have had a lot of practice and a lot of experience with expressing themselves in English language. So they have more skills and knowledge in how to express their thoughts and opinions on maybe more complicated topics. Also, they can deal with authentic materials and maybe talk with native speakers as well. So that can also be very helpful for both them to develop their English level and also teachers to arrange activities. Also, they already know some strategies because they are proactive in learning English. They already had a lot of time spent on it. So they might already be familiar with some activities like vocabulary learning and know how to teach themselves. They are fairly fluent and can communicate their thoughts and opinions freely, and they have a lot of vocabulary from previous learners, and also they can guess unfamiliar words more reliably because of their vocabulary to synonyms and such. And most importantly, they are capable of self-correction because they are familiar with English language enough to understand when they made a mistake and correct themselves without the necessary help of a teacher or an instructor.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Perfectly. So like that is presented perfectly well. Then challenges, group 5. So what challenges can upper intermediate learners, in spite even of their level, what challenges can they face? Okay, any volunteers ready to talk? Lisa, Anastasia. Okay, Lisa, you're welcome.
So upper intermediate learners can face with the phrasal verbs. It's actually very important because it's very important which preposition do you use, and it depends on meaning of that you are saying. So that's why I mentioned this. The next one is varieties of the basic known adjectives and adverbs. So as we know, like the simplest adjective is, for example, angry, but at the higher levels we can face with cross and oh my god, I forgot. For example, it will be cross. And the next one, delving into grammar more properly. So it's more like challenging grammar that you should face with during the lessons, and you should understand previous structures and already the structure of English sentences. And the last one is using collocations and other structures to impress your opinion. It's like you can't just talk about your hobbies and so on. You need to connect sentences between each other, and you need to know more than but, so, and so on.
Some linkers. You need to know more about these linkers and discursive markers. Okay, thank you. Then Anastasia would like to add something. Yeah, so like you are a representative of the same group.
Yes, I want to add more about psychological features or even mental features of these, because when you are on the upper intermediate level, of course you have some challenges in your grammar, vocabulary, and other things, but it is easily to overcome because you already have a lot of experience while learning the language. But on this level, you can feel like you're stuck in one place, so you don't see the results. You don't see what you are doing. You don't know where to move. You don't know how to go further because it seems like you know already enough, but still you need to learn more and how to do it, what to do, where to do all these things. And the same is about like not so visible results, and you can't see your results like you can see it when you're just starting learning the language. And it can be so frustrating that you can just stop doing it. You can stop learning the language, and you will think that you are not capable of learning a language, and it's not that easy for you. You are not able to do it at all.
Yeah, native speakers, by the way, say that some people, when they just like reach this B2 level, they say that they get stuck at this level, so without being willing to move to the next level, C1 and C2. Even quite a lot of school teachers feel pretty satisfied with this level, just because like when most of their learners or their students like finish school, like this senior classes, so usually they are supposed to have this B2 level, and that's why teachers can feel unmotivated or demotivated, so to continue their own growth and development. Yeah, so and that's what can happen to most upper intermediate levels. They are not willing to move to this advanced level or proficiency level because they feel like pretty comfortable, so like staying in the same place. Yeah, they do not want to step out of this comfort zone. Thank you. Then group 6, activities to be used. Halina?
Yes, so our group decided that upper intermediate learners are already at that level when they can read and listen to authentic materials. It can include different podcasts or maybe books of famous authors. And here I'd like to say that you mentioned that upper intermediate learners can feel unmotivated. So maybe reading and listening to authentic materials can be a good motivation, because usually it includes, these materials include some specific vocabulary, much more difficult than just books can suggest. And learners can feel that motivation to continue working on their skills, improving their skills. We also mentioned writing on specific kind of genre. So we decided that it isn't enough for upper intermediate learners just to write random thoughts or just text on their favorite topics, but they should dwell on peculiarities or write in different types of texts. So, for example, for and against essay. So they should discuss all the details, how to do it properly, and also try to write it on the B2 level, but and use those like more difficult vocabulary and grammar. We also suggested the task jigsaw reading, because we believe that it's a good way to practice both reading and speaking, because students should discuss the topic, like make a presentation before each other and learn how to explain everything properly. And accordingly, we also wrote about debates and discussion, because it can help to like practice using new vocabulary. So it's a good way. And of course, just improving speaking skills.
Thanks a lot, Alina. Yeah, so the list is more than exhaustive. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for this. Now, I have a question, so to you before we proceed, so to our next step. So as far as we've understood, so we do need as teachers to take into consideration students' needs, individual needs, for example, their psychological peculiarities. So the pace, so at which different students perceive information is different. Yeah, there are a lot of differences. Still, there is something that unites all the students, all the learners, in spite of the fact what their interest or how different their interest can be. What's this that unites all the learners or all the students? And we have some suggestions in the chat. Motivation. So yeah, thank you, Darina. Yeah, that's motivation, right? You are. What do we understand by motivation? What do we understand by motivation? Just suggest ideas. What is motivation? In your own words.
A desire to do something.
Desire to do something. Okay, Ludmila.
A willingness to reach their goals.
Yeah, willingness to reach something. Then, usually, motivation is defined as the driving factor. Oh, Oля, okay. So what suggestions do you have?
Also, I wanted to say about like systematic approach when they do something regular on the regular basis, something like that.
Alina?
I'd like also to add the word inspiration here.
Yeah, so motivation for you is something that is associated with inspiration. So for you to be motivated, you should be inspired. Okay, so a nice association. Marina?
It's also about internal motives, and it determines how much effort someone is willing to put into doing something.
Yeah, so it shows, how much effort we are ready, we are willing to invest into something. Usually, so motivation is interrelated with the question why. For example, why we do something, or it's kind of like a driving force. I do like this definition. So when motivation is defined as a driving force behind human actions, be it just gaining knowledge, be it, for example, going to a workplace, be it doing something else, be it doing some domestic chores, whatever. So it's a driving force that defines your actions, or like driving force behind your actions. Now, we will talk in particular about different theories of motivation. So, so actually, this list is not quite exhaustive. So, like one more theory should have been added here, and that's the Krashen's effective filter. But since we've already discussed that, so during our previous classes, I decided not to include it here. Instead, I will offer you to have a look at these definitions, at these definitions, and as well as the names of the theories. So here we have the theory of intrinsic and extrinsic motivation suggested by Deci and Ryan in 1985, ARCS model suggested by Keller in 1983, motivation island theory, so that was coined, the term itself was coined by Hancock. Then Maslow and Alderfer's model. So Maslow suggested this theory, and Alderfer's in 1972 kind of modified it. And so one more theory that belongs to a Hungarian scientist and methodologist, Zoltán Györnys. So quite difficult to pronounce the word, especially if you don't know Hungarian. Györnys, L2 motivational self-system. Now I will give you up to 3 minutes. If you feel that you need less, so let it be. So up to 3 minutes for you to get acquainted with these definitions. And then I will just take notes. So take notes somewhere in your copybooks of the keys. For example, you think that the first or number 1 theory should be associated with letter D, or for example, 2 should be matched to A, whatever. So take notes and be ready to provide me with the key in the chat box area. So the very moment when you're ready, just provide me with the key in the chat. Do it, please. And we already have the first answer. So for quarters, okay, Katya, does it mean that you have a question as to what for quarters mean? Yeah.
No, it's just my association to the first one, or what should we do?
Oh, okay. So you should provide the answers like this. For example, 1, let it be E, comma. Then
okay.
two, for
Sorry.
example, A, yeah, like this. So it should be presented like this. Sorry,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
my instructions were not quite clear.
No,
But still,
I just
thank you.
misheard.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Okay. Marinочka and Polina and the rest. So could you please suggest the answers just for all these theories in one line? Because otherwise that would take quite a lot of space. I will wait by the moment when somebody will provide us with the answers to all these theories, or just with matching with letters that will match each of these theories. Mhm. Yeah, we have some answers from you, 1E, 2D, so let us check, 3A, 4C, 5B. Okay, Paulina's, Galina's answers coincide. Marina, you have ED, A, C, B. Okay, that's the time for me to start analyzing and start connecting definitions to the names of the theories. So, A, this theory resembles a map of ideas or a coordinate system with 4 quarters, with top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right quarters, yeah, that are responsible for or correlate to the interest of our students, some challenges, usefulness and relevance of the material, as well as social atmosphere of cooperation. What should it be matched to, this theory? What kind of theory I'm talking currently about? It's what? Can anyone just?
Island something.
So the island theory. Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Then the next one. Motivation in second language acquisition is driven by how learners see themselves in the future. Yeah, so if the students can analyze what they would like to become in future, then what is expected of them or what they ought to do for this, as well as, for example, how they will feel while achieving these goals, if they can analyze all these steps on the way to achieving their goal, then what theory is it interrelated with? What theory is it interrelated with? So, Anastasia?
I guess number 5, motivational.
Number 5. Journey's L2 motivational self-system. So right you are. Yeah, definitely. Then C, this theory is based on hierarchy of human needs. And from the very first sentence, it becomes clear that only one person talked about human needs. Yeah, who was he? That was? Maslow, yeah. So can anyone enumerate, what were the levels in this hierarchy? Perhaps you remember it from your university classes. Oh, sorry.
I don't remember exactly, but I think it was physical needs, safety, belonging, then maybe someone will continue.
So first of all, we should think about physiological needs, because if our students, for example, are hungry or if they are cold, will they start thinking about how to learn a language or acquire a language? Of course not. No. So that's why. So then they are interested in their safety. They would like their interest to be taken into consideration. Yeah. They would like to be given more independent tasks, and that will lead to their self-development and self-growth. So C is associated with Maslow's theory. Then D, this model focuses on 4 components: learners' interest, usefulness, confidence, satisfaction. So it deals with which of these theories?
Number 2.
Number 2, ARCS. And now I suspect that you have a question. Why do we have ARCS? But here I have interest, usefulness. So I deliberately did that. So for you to rack your brains, because otherwise, if I mentioned that it's attention as step number 1, then you would easily recognize that. So why attention? Why A? Because so we can draw our learners' attention to some material or to what is done just when these tasks that they are performing evoke some interest in them. Then R stands for relevance, because if the material is useful and relevant for real life situations, they will be interested in doing that. Then, so whatever is done by the learners, so can evoke some confidence or lead to them being confident in what they do, because otherwise, if they feel fear and anxiety, no confidence, then they will stop learning altogether. And if they feel satisfied with what they have achieved, of course, they will be highly motivated. So let me connect it to number number 2. And the last one by default, yeah. So according to this theory, there are 2 types of motivation. The first is defined as the doing of an activity, like just for the activity to bring some satisfaction to you. It's known as intrinsic motivation, and the second type of motivation is known as external or extrinsic motivation, sorry, that is caused by some external factors like rewards, or for example fear of being punished, or for example some tangible results like money, because you know that if you succeed in doing some task, then you will get money for it, yeah, but so you are not interested in the process, in the activity itself. The same is like with the language. So like, and we may have this intrinsic as well as extrinsic motivation. Like whenever we are talking about language learning, whenever we are talking about doing some other things in life. And of course, our task as teachers is to enable our learners move from like this, from having only extrinsic to having intrinsic motivation. Thank you for dealing with that. Now, what I would like to do next, we will work a bit with the learning apps. So again, that will be kind of like in plenary work, just because I'm planning to give some other activities for you, and we I'm very sorry for this disappearing actually, so like such things do happen. These are technical hiccups, and so you know at times we just cannot foresee them. Okay, let me give it another try. I believe that maybe like perhaps this activity will appear. Yeah, so it's on my screen. So now I can start sharing the screen again. Yeah, so I've already mentioned that if talking about all these theories, so I do not deny that all of them are important or significant to us as teachers. Still, if talking about these like Maslow's theory, so it's of greatest importance compared to the rest of the theories. That's why right now I will ask you to look through these like statements or phrases suggested. Mind please that so there are some lines provided on the blue background, as well as there are those that are like written or stated on the pink one. So the pink, that's correlates with teachers' actions. So to say, like teachers' positive language or tone, comfortable environment, non-face threatening environment, autonomy supportive activities, providing fresh and unusual stimuli, developing responsibility. These are teachers' actions. Now think of what response these teachers' actions will evoke in the learners. For example, when we are talking about teachers' positive language and tone, what reaction will it evoke or response will it evoke in learners? What should it be matched to?
They will be more engaging, and also they will be confident and
so if the
confident and open.
Okay, so thank you, Afruza. So if the teacher is positive and uses positive tone, positive voice speech, then how will his students, the learners, how will they feel? They will be enthusiastic and will have positive attitude to learning. If you are positive, then your learners are positive as well. Then, if the teacher creates comfortable environment for a learner, then what will it lead to?
Learners' confidence and emotional comfort.
Kind of, thank you. So yeah, they are interrelated, but so at least or at first, it will so help us to overcome one obstacle. Which one?
Have to filter.
Yeah, with the filters. Comfortable environment for a learner will enable a learner, yeah, to deal with low effective filter. You remember that. So filters, these are like obstacles. So if it's high, then it will be quite difficult for us to jump over it. If it's low, then so the lower it is, the more comfortable we feel. Then developing responsibility for learning, like, so as a teacher's action will correlate with what students' response. Developing responsibility. If the students are responsible for their own learning, that will mark their transition.
Their involvement, maybe.
So more involvement, thank you. And so if the students start being responsible for their own learning, are they now interested in the material? Or are they prompted by somebody else to work with a language or with a material studied?
Okay,
So,
as for me, I have two variants because maybe it's pretty similar, but I guess a shift from extrinsic and intrinsic motivation.
Right, you are, yeah. So if you become responsible for your own study, for your own learning, then it marks that's where the shift, yeah, so appears from extrinsic to intrinsic motivation. Right, you are, thank you. We have 3 pairs that are matched. Now, what is left? A non-face threatening environment. So in other words, so if the teacher creates everything for the, to secure safety, and like this safe atmosphere for the learners, what will it lead to? What will be the learner's reaction?
Learners' confidence and emotional comfort.
Right. Thank you. Then providing fresh and unusual stimuli, stimulus, it's singular, stimuli in plural, with a balance of new things and repetition. What will it lead to? What reaction it will evoke in learners?
Evoke interest and develops esteem.
Okay, so, and autonomy supportive activities and interaction will by default mark the moving or transition from surface to deep learning with high involvement of each learner. Yeah. And so what we discussed with you so is reflected here, because so if these physiological needs of the learner are satisfied, yeah, so if you have some shelter or you have some house to live in, you have something to eat and to drink, so then then it will create some comfortable environment that will lower the affective filter. Then enthusiastic teacher who is quite positive will evoke enthusiasm and positive attitude to learning in his students. The atmosphere of cooperation and competitiveness, so suggested by the teacher, will lead to overcoming this barrier or this problem with safety and security. Then, if the teacher suggests learning some interesting material and valuable things, that will lead to interest and esteem, boost the students' esteem. Then, if you suggest some autonomous tasks, then your students, it will provide a high level of involvement, and your students will move from surface to deep learning. And at the top of it, they will become responsible for their own learning. That's why these 3 levels correspond to the level of safety. If these basic needs are satisfied, then it will lead to this growth level, yeah, so to the level of growth, to the level of self-development, when our students will become autonomous, motivated, and engaged learners. Okay, so yeah, planned to give you one more task, but actually I believe that so we will lack some time for that. So perhaps then we will not do it in breakout rooms, but instead we will discuss it like we will discuss it briefly. So yeah, so like we will do it in the form of eliciting. So being the teachers, you will definitely be responsible for different students, so with different needs, of different age, of different level of knowledge. For example, so you can come across such situations when you will have a student, for example, Maria, Sophia, doesn't quite matter what the name of the student is. And the student will be shy, but hardworking with A1 level of English. So just think and just say what activities can be suggested for this learner. Or it can be Daniel, the independent learner who is 45 years old but has just A2 plus level of English. What activities can be suggested for this learner? Or it can be Andrei, overachiever, like a person who likes to bring everything to perfection, 32 something with B2 plus level of English. What can be suggested for him still to be engaged and motivated? It can be Emily, for example, aged 16, the social butterfly. I hope you know what it means. So a person is called social butterfly if she can like socialize pretty well with the people with B1 level of English. Or it can be Sophia, unmotivated student, age 12 with A2 level of English. Or Leo, struggling but motivated learner, age 17 with level B1 who wants to take IELTS. And that's why, so he is driven by this extrinsic motivation. Are there any suggestions as to how you as teachers could help at least some of these learners? So let us just discuss that orally because we will lack time for these breakouts. What will be your suggestions for any of these students? You can like just suggest ideas for any of them. For example, what can be recommended for a shy but hardworking student, aged 9, with A1 level? Any suggestions? So if she's shy in speaking, in expressing herself, what can be done about it?
We can give some prompts and show example.
Okay, so give prompts. There can be some pictures, visual aids. Okay, Helena, what else?
We also need to try to encourage her, and I know that sometimes you should just ask the students, yeah, because they are not going to raise a hand, but they are ready to answer. So you should feel when they are ready, and you should ask. And then, of course, you should praise the correct answers.
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning this last comment. Yeah, so you should praise and encourage the student because like if these shy, unmotivated students are praised, so it will boost their self-esteem. Thank you. Yulia Andreevna, would you like to give suggestions like for Maria?
Also to connect the materials to her interests because she will be more comfortable to speak about things that she likes.
Thank you. Then Marina?
Firstly, it's of course important to build a safe and supportive environment for the student, and maybe start with activities that require less verbal output, like listening on some matching exercises, and then gradually move to short dialogues or then role plays.
So at first, this can be the tasks that suggest dealing with kind of prepared speech, yeah. So that the person could be in the know how to frame everything into the words, how to express yourself, and later we will proceed to more spontaneous like tasks. Елизавета?
We can give her writing tasks or on online platforms, but not in front of people.
Yeah, so she prefers writing, so she needs more tasks for speaking. Yeah, that's why praise will work here, definitely. Then some tasks, so where like she will get ready with prepared speech, and so some activities like with micro dialogues that will enable her to move, like to make this transition and move from the stage of prepared to impromptu speech. Thanks a lot. Then, what will we do with the independent learner like Daniel? Independent learner, quite confident in himself, but with A2 plus level of English. Ludmila, suggestions?
Yeah, I have suggestion. If he likes YouTube, we can provide a task where we can for it attentively listening, like maybe to fill the gap. Maybe you know that platform where learners have to listen carefully and observe this video what they do, and then we have some true or false, maybe gap filling, or maybe question. It would be good.
Thanks a lot. So yeah, there are a lot of AI, AI apps. So where, for example, this person so can suggest the topic for the discussion, and then so like he or she will he because it's Daniel, so he will have a talk with this the chosen speaker, the chosen speaker. So and that will enable him to develop his skills. So and his acquisition of the language. Lisa. Suggestions from you?
Yeah, so even if he's independent person and learner, he has level A2. So it's still important to explain more details, like in pronunciation, even he doesn't want to learn it, but we need to give more details, like even in sounds. If you would say not bag, but bug, it will be an insect, but not an item.
So more activities in which so it will be possible for the person so to practice or to drill the pronunciation. Yeah, so that's one of your suggestions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Marina.
I would just a flipped classroom for the students, like to assign engaging YouTube videos that introduce some lesson topics, for example, grammar, vocabulary, and then in class discuss them or do some interactive exercises, and then do self-reflection with the student.
So yeah, and we need to take into consideration so the description of his learner profile. He dislikes traditional methods and bored in slow-paced lessons. That's why interaction, that would be just the key word here, more interactive activity. So on the one hand, that will enable him just to work in that tempo he will like or at that pace he will like, and on the other hand, that will teach him to be actively engaged in the process of learning. Then Andrei, the overachiever, so 32 with level B2 plus, a highly motivated person who gets frustrated like because of the mistakes he makes, but he does make some mistakes. So any suggestions here? The most hard to please person. Yeah, the most hard to please. So the person is highly motivated. His level is B2 plus. It marks the transition from B2. Yeah, so he's on the way of like getting this C1 level, so advanced level. Then what can be suggested for him? Darina?
So maybe we can just allow him to do these mistakes and just to write out them, for example, somewhere and do post correction. We can just provide some exercises for training these mistakes. Like he even would not know that he did these mistakes, or just give comments after his speech or after his work. Then he will feel more comfortable.
Yeah, delayed correction will definitely work for him. So thanks a lot. Then Katrina?
Yeah, also absolutely agree with Darina, and I will add If he gets frustrated with mistakes, we can motivate him by showing maybe some native speakers with lots of mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely. So like he can be in charge, appointed to be in charge of some like students with a lower level of knowledge. Why not? Yeah. Thank you, Halina. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and I'd like to add that in the profile it's mentioned that he's going to speak with business partners. So maybe we should help them to learn how to deal with these mistakes when he understands that he made the mistake, how to react in this situation in order to build his confidence.
Thank you. So, and perhaps like we will also dwell upon one of those who are left. So just choose what you'd like to comment on. Social butterfly, Emily, unmotivated student, Sophia, or Leo, who is struggling but still a motivated learner. Just let us choose one person to comment on. Maybe the unmotivated student, because like today we were talking about motivation. So think of how to get this person motivated. So she's age 12, so a teenager or adolescent with A2 level. Like what can we do to help you? Maria?
I'm not sure we should do something. So we can provide her with that amount of English she really needs at school, just because if she really doesn't want it and she is interested in some other things, she should pay attention to those things she is interested in and she is good at. So, for example, if she is a football player or something like that, why should I make her learn English? There is no point in it. At least I can't see it.
Okay, so here it's mentioned that she rarely participates and does the minimum required work. That's why. So I believe that there are some students who'd like to contradict. Yeah, so quite a lot of people raised their hands. So Polina, then Darina, Halina, Ludmila. So many people would like to disagree with you. Polina.
I don't disagree strictly. I think it's not a good first option to have because some students really do not need or want English, but sometimes lack of motivation is just like a knee-jerk response as failure and other struggles. So you can just say, oh, they don't need this, so we won't teach it. You had to at least try. And in my opinion, we could try by giving her some something that suits her interests, maybe her hobbies. So we'll get to know Sophia better, what she likes to do, maybe some music or movies she likes, and then we can work from there to for her to be able to enjoy those hobbies like movies, music in English language, so she can do something she enjoys together with learning English.
Okay, so just provide her with something that she enjoys. Find out what she likes, yeah? So, and incorporate this kind of activities into your lessons. Darina.
So I also want like to say that maybe it would be better still to do something because if we will not help these students, she will not get motivated and interested herself if she didn't do it previously. So, and I do love phrase that I once heard and I want to share maybe for somebody it would be close, that there is no like students that can't be taught. Maybe just our methods are not good for these students. So maybe we should get to know more the student, her interests, her learner type and style, and just to provide materials that would be appropriate for her.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So I absolutely agree with your last statement that there are no students so that cannot be taught. It just takes more time, I would add. Yeah, more time, more effort. So, and a bit different approaches, methods, and strategies to be chosen. So I've been in the situation even this year, like when I was in the shoes of the teacher who felt a bit at a loss in spite of the like number of years of my experience. Because so it seems to me that so I definitely know what methods to choose. With one of my students, so she's kind of like student to whom I'm giving these private lessons. So she's quite good at exact sciences. So because like that runs in the family, yeah. But if talking about English, so she definitely needs that. That's why she's driven more by extrinsic motivation, because these are her parents who are interested in her knowledge of English. Still, she and I cannot say that she lacks interest. She is interested, but she definitely needs more time, and it takes her more time for dealing with all the tasks, for remembering the things, just because she has this innate aptitude for exact sciences rather than humanities. That's why, so what was done with other students within a lesson or two takes 3-4 lessons for her to manage, yeah. But still now we are step by step making progress, and that's what the fact that cannot but feel me satisfied. Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot for these hot discussions, for these talks. Are there any ideas, so from our lesson, that you would definitely put into a suitcase and start using immediately? Was there anything new for you that you would like to use immediately? Were there some things that still need to be reconsidered? For example, some time should pass for you to think of how to apply that. Or perhaps there were some things mentioned by me that should be ground at a windmill because they are absolutely unnecessary to you. Just give comments, because I'm interested in whether you found this material necessary, beneficial, or unnecessary at all. Would like to say something. And with this we will quit, because it's high time for us to finish the class. No ideas? Nothing to comment on? Darina.
I can. So I do love our session, and everything was so useful. Thank you so much. And what I need to reconsider, maybe to think more, I was confusing these learner types and learner styles. So I think I should look through it again. And I just love our work. So thank you.
So learner types, answering your question, I will tell you that learner types is more about the channels we perceive the information. Yeah, we like to perceive the information through. Learner styles is more about our aptitudes to particular subjects. So, but they shouldn't be confused, and they shouldn't be there shouldn't be this equality mark put between them. Okay, thanks a lot. So with this, we will quit. So thank you for this active participation. Hope to see you in a week. So we will have a lot more interesting activities. And right now we will start dealing, during the next class, we will start dealing with teaching grammar. And I believe that I will just provide you with some practical examples of what we dealt with at our CELTA lessons, and what will be required of you by your trainers. So thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Nice to meet you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Mhm.